Recording in progress.
Okay, well, welcome to our monthly demonstration. We meet every month, and we, as part of the coaching supervision certification program, always the last Tuesday of the month, we have an opportunity to invite a colleague to do a demonstration of coaching supervision. And for the first part of the year of the program, we cover individual coaching supervision, and the last part of the program, we cover group coaching supervision. And today we have with us one of our graduates from our program, Jeanine Bailey, who is in Australia now. Before was in Qatar, in the Middle East, and now is back to Australia. And she's an MCC. She's a very experienced coach. She went through the coaching supervision program a few years ago. She has been involved. Now in the program, she's one of the supervisors. And we have here today with us the participants for the program that we meet every Tuesday. But we also have graduates. So I want to welcome all of our graduates. And we also have some guests. So welcome, I want to welcome to all of our guests. For the guests who are not as familiar with supervision, supervision is a reflective space. And in this space, we explore the work that we do with our clients. So in this case, today, we're going to be using a group format where Jeanine is going to be working with 4 coaches. One of the coaches is going to bring a case for discussion, and Jeanine is going to engage the other coaches in the exploration, in the reflection on the case that the coach is going to bring. Usually, group coaching supervision may last between 90 minutes to 1 hour, in which more than one person usually presents. Today is a demo. We're going to do only one demonstration, only one person bringing a case for around 30 minutes. And then we will go for a break. And in the second part, we're going to discuss in small groups what we learned from the session. So here, the idea is that we listen to learn about supervision, to learn about group supervision, to pay attention what Jeanine is doing as a group supervisor. Participants are getting trained also as group supervisors. And later we are going to have a discussion with what happened in the small groups, what happened in the small groups. So with that in mind, I want to ask Jeanine if you would like to introduce yourself and talk more about you and what you do and what would you like people to know about you.
Thank you, Damien. I really appreciate the invitation to be here today, and I thank everybody for showing up as well. I'm seeing so many familiar faces, people that I've worked with, partnered with, learnt with, and lots of new faces. So I'm feeling very privileged to be here. And so, as Damien mentioned, I am an ICF MCC coach. I started my business with my business partner, Marie Quigley, who some of you may know, back in 2012 in Qatar in the Middle East. So we were, I believe, one of the first, if not the first, coaching school in Qatar. And it was such an amazing experience to be able to offer that. And as a consequence of the coach training business that we built, we got lots of organizations coming to us for executive coaching, in-house professional coach training, facilitation of workshops, and so much more. So we had an amazing experience in Qatar, and then the pandemic hit a couple of years ago. So both Marie and I went back to our respective home countries, me in Australia, Marie in the UK, and so our business has gone global. And part of our expansion was, after starting our school of coaching, as well as offering coach mentoring, was we knew the next step was to bring in supervision. And actually, I'm going to thank Larissa for highlighting that. So Larissa, who's here, was someone who also highlighted that supervision is the next thing to do. So I thank you for that, Larissa. And Marie did her research, found Damien, and so we joined his magnificent cohort number 7. And it was just, again, a beautiful journey of eye-opening discoveries. It was like doing coach training all over again, really appreciating different perspectives and different ways that we can support particularly coaches to be the best that they can be. So I've also nearly finished Damien's group supervision program, also with Larissa. That again has been a joyful, expansive journey of further self-discovery. And again, what I've really enjoyed about working in Damien's group is just meeting so many people from around the world and the opportunities that actually Damien has enabled to show up. So again, I feel so privileged to have partnered with a number of you on this call, and now to be in this space, I do feel under a little bit of pressure, but I'm looking forward to it. I'm also really looking forward to it. So thank you for being here today, and I hope that that helps give an insight as to my experience. I will just say very quickly, I've also worked with Indigenous coaches in New Zealand, and also Pacifica, Canada and Australia. And that has also been a big part and rich part of what I have done as a coach and trainer. So thank you, Damien, for the opportunity to share.
Thank you for being here today. And we have 4 people who are going to be working with you. And I want to thank them for accepting the invitation. They were the one who came here earlier today, the first one that got into the call. We asked them to join, so thank you for that. So we are going to ask everybody to turn off your cameras, and we're going to keep here only Grace, Reggie, Lucy, and Inga. Okay, and everybody else, if you can turn off your cameras. Okay, great. So thank you for accepting the invitation to be part of this demonstration. We have had the opportunity to talk before with Lucy today, and I asked Lucy if she would prepare a case, and she agreed. So thank you, Lucy, for coming prepared to the meeting. And I know that Grace, you worked with Jeanine before, so you know each other from collaborating before. But Jeanine, you may not know the rest of the group. So it's important for everybody to be aware that Jeanine is doing a demo with people that she may not met before. And what is interesting here is that sometimes it takes some time to build trust and feel comfortable. So, and we need to spend time in groups building that through agreements and contracting. So contracting is a very important part of group supervision. And today, unfortunately, we do not have a lot of time for contracting because we may spend the 30 minutes doing the contracting. So to jump a little bit and fast forward, the idea is that we give for granted that you all know about what are the basic contracting agreements about confidentiality, though it's a little bit tricky because this is an open demo with all of these people watching, and then sometimes I ask permission to share this recording outside this community. So then after we finish the session, particularly Lucy, since you are presenting the case, I am going to ask you for permission if you feel comfortable or not sharing this recording. A couple of people send me messages saying, no, I cannot be there, are you recording it, can we watch it later? Also, Jeanine have a lot of followers who want to know about her work, but you may feel free. Then I am going to ask you, can we share? If anybody is not comfortable with sharing the recording, we will not share the recording with anybody else. Okay, so you need to know that. So Jeanine, we have around 30 minutes. Do you want me to let you know when you have 5 minutes left, or will you like that? Okay, it's okay if I turn on my camera and I make a sign, and okay. And
yes.
Anything else you need from me before I go?
I'm good, but just checking in with everybody else.
Anybody needs anything? Okay, good. Well, thank you. Thank you, everybody, for being willing to play with us so we can all learn together. Okay, so I'm going to turn off my camera now.
Thank you, Damien. I'm just sorting out my screen so I can see you all in front of me. And again, a huge thanks to each and every one of you for agreeing to work with me today. And I think it's just Lucy that I haven't met. I believe I've met everyone else, particularly Grace. And so Lucy, I'm looking forward to getting to know you in this session today. So I would love to check in with you before we start. How are you arriving into this session today?
Myself? Okay. Yeah, at the beginning with a little bit of anticipation of wanting to bring a juicy case for learning, for myself, for my learning, but also for shared learning. And then as I was listening to the, I was in and out because I was thinking about the case, listening, about the case, listening. And I landed on, I have something interesting and challenging as well for me. And so I'm coming in with curiosity right now.
Yeah, thank you, Lucy, for sharing how you're coming in. And I appreciate that, coming in and out and coming in with curiosity. So again, appreciate your willingness to be here, that courage to be here. And I'd love to check in with everyone else how they are also arriving today.
I would say for me, just excitement and just honored to be here. I have a lot of admiration for Lucy, so there'll be some silent support here as well.
Thank you, Reggie. Thank you for, again, coming in with your support today.
For me, also excitement to have the invitation here, be in the one of the group to support Lucy and learn with all of you, especially Jeanine. Nice to meet you again and then learn from you again.
Thank you, Grace. And likewise.
I'm here with a lot of curiosity about the process. I would like to be the part of this process as well. So I promise to give as much as possible from myself and support Lucy in her supervision. But as well, I'll be very honest, I'm very curious, Jeanine, about how you do it. So there is I'm always on two different levels, as a participant and from meta context as the observer. Yeah, how like a learner here. So I try to be sure that when it's necessary, I'm in the space of a participant who is supporting Lucy in her supervision journey.
Great. Thank you so much for sharing. And I love those two perspectives that you're bringing in. And I can hear lots of curiosity and excitement. And I too am excited about being here. There's perhaps some apprehension as well. And I'm reframing that as excitement for myself and curiosity. And so, Lucy, Damien's touched on the ways of working and assuming that we have this confidentiality and the ability to share here and so much more. And I want to check in with you specifically as you're bringing in the case. What else might you need to have in place to support you to bring in your case today?
In addition to what's already happened here, I think, it's a practice for me as a coach or supervisor to slow down. So there's a little bit of that I think would be helpful for me, to slow down my own, I can't control my thoughts to slow them down, but just to have a process to feel at a pace. It doesn't feel so hurried is what's coming up right now for me.
And again, I really appreciate that, Lucy. So it's working at a pace that feels comfortable, that allows you to process the case. That's what I believe I'm hearing.
It's well, it might be uncomfortable, yeah. just by nature of being in a true learning mode. I do feel held here. So where there is discomfort, that's where I'll probably need to slow down a little bit, because I'll go fast. I'll go right to action. And it's in service of our learning. I do want to foster reflective space, and so even just in my thoughts right now, I'm slowing down, in partnership with each of you. So but in response to you, it's not about comfort so much as it is about processing in the moment.
Yes. So what I'm hearing is potentially just holding that space to allow you to process what may be coming up, which may be uncomfortable.
Potentially.
Yeah, potentially. Thank you, Lucy, for sharing. And I'm wondering, what support do you need from us as a group with that processing?
Your wisdom.
And I trust that the whole group will bring in its wisdom to support your wisdom. Yeah. Thank you, Lucy. So I'll just check in with the group. Are we ready to start? Yeah. Thank you. And so, Lucy, what is it that you'd like to bring to supervision today to create more awareness about for yourself to support your learning?
I'd like to bring in a case with a coachee who I've spoken to 3-4 times now, and it's a pro bono engagement. It's through an organization that's for at-risk women. And I find it supremely challenging because my comfort level, or not comfort, my, I don't know, lean in is when I say is business or corporate. And so I want to do it even more because it stretches me. And in working with this particular coachee, there was interest and a sense of reluctance at the beginning, like I'm not, and actually it was shared with me as well by through my latest session, where she admitted and said, you know what, I was quite skeptical about this coaching, and in sharing that, it clicked, and I thought, that's what I sensed. I wondered what it was. That's what I sensed, because she disappeared for a bit, and it took a while to bring her back in. Our most recent session was 2 sessions, actually. She said, whoa, I couldn't believe that this, we were able to get to something quickly. Where I'm challenged is there's trauma in the past. And so as a coach who has had some trauma-informed coaching training, but not certification, I'm feeling like, well, where do I go in deep? Because my desire and purpose as a coach is to have transformative coaching, not transactional. And some of what she's presented is somewhat transactional, but she speaks to, and we've built enough trust where she's shared her past traumas.
Yeah. Thank you, Lucy, for sharing this. What I'm hearing is a courageous client and coach working together. And I'm hearing this curiosity about, is what I believe I'm hearing, what I'm making up, is this question around, where do I go in deep?
Yes.
So Lucy, is it okay if we ask some clarifying questions as a group to support you to get clear about what this question might be?
Yes.
Would that be okay?
Yeah.
So I'm going to ask everyone to ask a clarifying question. And so if you can hold your responses until you've heard the questions, and then we'll dive in deeper. As I hear this, I could feel it really in my heart space, the deepness of this case that you're bringing in. There was a real contraction. So I'm going to hand it over to the group to ask you a clarifying question, and then we'll come back to you.
Okay.
So who would like to start? Grace.
I wonder, you mentioned that you desire to go deeper with clients. So what's the contract, or what's the expectation from your client?
So thank you, Grace. And maybe it's for Inga and Reggie, it's identifying a question that clarifies what supports Lucy to clarify what she wants to create awareness about.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
The three words which caught my attention: transformative, transactional, and deep. And I would love to maybe get some awareness about what deep means for Lucy in this context. What it means in terms of this client, Lucy experience with trauma, training, and this client expectations. I'm sorry, Reggie.
Thank you, Inga.
Oh, no worries, Inga. What I heard earlier from Lucy was her lean is more in the corporate space. So what comes up for me, obviously from a place of curiosity, is what perhaps may be the greatest challenge being faced in this.
And I appreciated, I really appreciated the questions that Inga and Reggie asked. You know, what is it about this query around going deep? What does that mean? And what might be perhaps getting in the way of going on that transformative deep journey? And so, Lucy, what comes up for you in terms of what it is that you trust and know is what you want to explore?
Okay, so this type of cohort that I'm working with are women who are who've actually been previously homeless, and so the go deep is actually now. I feel warm just thinking about it. Is just giving back to society, you know, for those who have had really tough times, and this is not my first coachee in this. She's my fourth or fifth, so I have a sense of what each of these women have come to, and so my contracting to Grace's question is often around, you know, how is life different? I mean, how is your life and even work? We do talk about work. What are your goals in terms of it being different and better from where you are now or where you've been to where you want to be? So that's kind of the contracting in the sense of what they want to get out from a goals perspective. The deep is transformative work, where the challenges that they've had, and they've achieved a lot already to get to the point of being in a coaching program like this. These are resourceful women, like they are strong. The first person I worked with, super strong, like just unbelievably strong. And I think what I'm noticing, the challenge here is she's the strongest of each person I've ever worked with, like strong in the sense of her presence. She's like, she has that deep voice. And I think for me, it's like this honoring of this human being in front of me and wanting to really help her to be seen. And so that's one. And the second is that in my experience in coaching, the presenting issue is not the issue. So she comes with these presenting issues. And the deep work, to go to Inga's question, is what is the real issue? And to build that trust. And I guess the clarification for me is I passed a hurdle in that first level of getting trust, in that she said, okay, let's continue. And we made some headway, and I just have a feeling intuitively that there's so much more. And we have time, so much more to be done, to explore, not to be done, to explore. That's where I'm at.
Yeah. So in terms of what I'm hearing that you want to explore is potentially looking at that deeper work and how you can work with her to create that transformation. So is that something that is useful to explore here, Lucy, or is there something else?
Well, I don't know why, but as you said that, I'm realizing I'm learning from her. It's this incredible, beautiful experience of learning from each person that I work with. In some ways, I learn about their strength, their perseverance, their resilience, and she brings up trauma in the past. My experience in that is to say, how is that impacting who you are today, and stopping or propelling you to be the person you want to be tomorrow. So we keep it in the realm of coaching. I don't have any challenges on that. But there's just have a feeling that that's an important recognition, that there's history there too.
So Lucy, is it okay if we continue as a group to support you to get curious about the learning from her? Would that serve and support you?
Sure. Yes. Yeah, for sure. Because I don't know where that came from. It just occurred to me. So yeah, it's new information.
I love how that new information has come in. And let's just trust that, if that's okay with everyone else. So what I'd love to invite the group to, as based on what you're hearing from Lucy, is search inside your body. What's perhaps happening inside? What are you noticing within you? Perhaps it's a feeling, perhaps it's an emotion, perhaps it's something else. So based on what Lucy has shared with us, what are you noticing in what's happening within you as she shares this powerful story?
So should I share something with you, Lucy?
Yes. Yeah, of
And
course.
before you do, Grace, Lucy, if I can just invite you to hear everybody sharing and then respond. Go ahead, Grace.
Yeah, when hearing you share the information, I just feel my throat tight and a little bit uncomfortable. I'm not sure what that means, and just going tight when I hearing when you said there's something. I'm not sure, just very, very quickly come up into my body. So I'm not sure when you hear that, what that means for you. Yeah.
Thank you, Grace.
So for me, initially, there was a tightness in my chest and also some sadness initially, because as Lucy began to tell the story, she got emotional when she mentioned these women experienced trauma, and just toward the end, all of that went away. She said she felt warm, as did I, almost as if it was to say, it's okay now.
Thank you, Reggie.
I had pretty strong reaction when Lucy answered our questions. I connected with my eyes, basically. I became tearful, so I was on the verge of crying, which doesn't happen very often to me, so I don't think that it's like sensitive part of me, but I sense that it's something in the space here. However, the moment when Lucy said, I learned from her, I soothed a little bit, but then when we started sharing, it came back again. Yes, so I'm actually like, I feel that if I let myself, I would cry here without like any reason connected with me and my life right now. But this moment, I'm learning from her. That was the moment when I somehow come down for a bit.
Thank you, Inga. And Lucy, I'm noticing lots of parallels in this group in terms of what we're experiencing, what we're feeling. And from the moment that you started sharing your beautiful journey with this client, I could feel the tightness in my chest. It still sits there. And as you were sharing your story, that tightness traveled down into my belly, and I could feel it here as well. Mm-hmm. And I too had a moment of also wanting to cry and cry in a way of release, cry in a way of almost celebration of the work, the brave work that you're doing. So there's something really courageous about what you're doing, and there is some sort of celebration, yet I still feel this tightness in my chest. Mm-hmm. So as we share that with you, Lucy, what comes up for you?
Tears. Oh, yeah. Thank you. Gratitude. The strength I see in this coachee is something that I see mirrored in my own, in my life. Yeah.
Take your time, Lucy.
I didn't know this was going to happen. So what I believe I can learn from her in her strength is how I support close family members of mine who have experienced trauma. And this is back like 30, 40 years. And it resurfaced a few weeks ago due to a death in our family. So just a lot there. And that's where the depth is. And as I imagine the coachee, so strong. My gosh, she spoke about her trauma. She spoke about the last session the topic was about a family member and what happened. And so she brought it in confidence to me and in trust, which was incredible. What an honor. Because on the surface, the work is around her work and how she shows up at work. And what she wants to transition to in the next 6 months to a year as we work together. This is a 1-year program, by the way, and we've been at it for a couple of months, so we still have a long way to go. But the learning from her about how do you help someone? I don't know. I feel like I'm going to get it by osmosis. I hope. So it's not my agenda per se, but as I look at her and her strength, I feel like I'm learning. And I didn't really know that was really there until now, of the learning about this, because why? I don't know. Just didn't occur to me until now. But that's what I could gain in partnership with her, in learning with her, and shared learning. So the throat constriction is there right now. It wasn't before. Yeah.
Mm. Thank you again, Lucy, for being so incredibly courageous and vulnerable and sharing what's coming up for you right now, which again, I trust is supporting all of us in this system and beyond. So really grateful to you. So I appreciate that we're potentially getting towards the end of our session. So what I would love to invite each and every one of us to do now is to share perhaps an insight or a question or a metaphor, some sort of gift to give Lucy to support her with this case that she's brought in, and to support her with that curiosity and expanding that wisdom. So again, I invite you, my wonderful colleagues, to share something that you believe is a gift that will support Lucy to continue that reflective work.
Okay, again, I go first. Shall I? Okay. Yeah.
Thank you, Grace.
Yeah. So, Lucy, when you appreciate very much, and just like Jenny said, you encourage here. And when I hear this part, I just have the thoughts to give you a warmly hug. Exactly, I'm here, sitting here, but they're very clear thinking to give you a warmly hug. And also the picture is, even you look like a strong woman, but there seems a little pretty girl inside, and she needs love, connection with the world, with people. Then needs their connection and lovely love. So that's the picture. I hug this strong woman, so very warmly. Yeah.
Thank you, Grace.
Jeanine, when you said metaphor, I suddenly saw battery with this minus and plus ending, and I thought about, you know, currents moving up and down and producing something magnificent like light, or, you know, the machinery going up, or the started moving. And I thought that that's the metaphor of this relationship. The client with trauma, Lucy with the history of trauma in the family as well, and this flow back into, and you know, some power is created here. So that's the metaphor, how I see it. And that's like very close to my heart. I believe that coaching relationship is both beneficial for coachee and for coaches as well. So yeah, this flow, that's the metaphor I'm leaving this session with.
Thank you, Inga.
Yeah, earlier, Lucy mentioned transformative, right? So transformation, and maybe it's a metaphor, maybe not, but in the spirit of transformation and where learning is concerned, what I'm sure the gift will be is the transformation each one of you will experience through learning from one another.
Thank you, Reggie. And again, Lucy, I'm hearing these wonderful parallels in this group, and potentially the parallels with you and your client and all the different parts of your life. And so what comes up for me is this image of a mirror. I have this image of you looking into the mirror, but also seeing your client. I can see you seeing both, and vice versa. And so there's this beautiful connection between you both as you learn from each other, learn from the wisdom of each other, trust each other. And the other thing that comes to mind is that that beautiful principle of our clients and we are naturally creative, resourceful, and whole. We are incredibly resourceful beyond our wildest imagination. And so that's what comes in for me. So as you hear that, Lucy, as you hear all the perspectives, what comes to you?
Yeah. So Grace, I have pictures of me as a little girl right there to remind myself of yeah, many different things. But one particular picture is the little girl who just couldn't wait to go to school at 4 years old. Just so a learner for my entire life, a lifetime learner. And that's a true story. You know, I begged my father to go to school, and I wasn't of school age until he took me to a school on a weekend just to give me the experience of sitting in a classroom. And I remember it. It's interesting. So it's a reminder to me to remember to stay curious when I forget. So thank you for that memory. And then, so each of you have, so that really stood strong for me. And then Inga, there's energy, there's an energetic field between us. So that really does ring true. There's something about her that I'm drawn to in some ways, that I'm grateful for, that we were matched. Yeah. And then Reggie, were each of us in some way learning. Yeah, this is just the beginning is what's coming up for me and listening to you. And then Jeanine, everything you said. Just there's a connection, full body connection. I'm holding the question of what do I want to learn from her? And I have a feeling it's, I want to not answer that question, actually. I have a feeling that it's more than one answer. Yeah. And it's who I am as coach that I'm learning, you know, who am I for her and who am I for others? Because it's what I learned from her, I can be of service to others. And that's where I'm at.
Wow, what a powerful question that you're holding for yourself, Lucy. That curiosity, and that, you know, I'm hearing that trust and that connection, and, you know, being aware of what's beyond, that there's more to learn. I'm hearing there's a journey here.
Yes.
Yeah. Thank you, Lucy.
Thank you, all of you.
Thank you, Damien, for letting me know that we've got a few minutes to wrap up. And so I'd love to check in with each and every one of you. What are you taking away from, again, this really beautiful and powerful case that Lucy has brought? And again, thank you, Lucy, for showing up so authentically and gracefully. Who would like to start?
I typically refrain from taking notes, particularly when I coach, because I want to be fully present. But the last thing, well, actually the only thing I wrote, and it's interesting you said what you did, Jeanine, is beautiful reflection of sharing. And that's what I take from this.
Thank you, Reggie.
So I'm taking curiosity for my own practice is how deep I am allowing myself to transform in the relationship with my clients. If it's mutual transformation, so how deep do I allow myself to transform in this relationship somehow as well? So that's an interesting question, and I don't know the answer for it yet.
Thank you, Inga. And I love that there's this journey of continuing to reflect and expand and grow. So thank you. And Grace.
Yeah, so it's many thanks for the beautiful journey, especially Lucy. Thank you for sharing all your story and thinking. Yeah, and I feel I haven't taken anyone notes, just being authentic with you, and I feel deep connection with you. And I just think maybe we all learn deeper from ourselves, and we connect with the client just like we connect with ourselves, just with the word. So and also I thought the paralyze is kind of a powerful gift for each one. So yeah, that I before, when we learn from the supervision, we think parallel, we have to aware of the parallel model. But today I just feel that's really a very beautiful and powerful gift. Yeah. So thank you for you let me have this for your take away. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Grace. And Lucy, what I'm taking away from myself today is, and it's interesting how my heart feels free right now. That feeling that I had in my chest and my throat and my belly, it's all dissipated. And so I take away from our session today this deep connection and curiosity that came in from the very beginning, being deeply curious with our clients to support us in our own journey of transformation and new awareness and growth and expansion and so much more. So thank you for that beautiful gift. And so Lucy, I'd love to check in with you. What are you learning about yourself today?
My learning about myself. Curiosity and courage are always my guides. I say the 3 C's: curiosity, courage, and conviction are 3 intentions I bring in life, and then they happen to come into coaching too, because it's part of who I am. Yeah, and where I'm have deep in learning is the courage, I think, more. I mean, curiosity, so natural, but really the courage to work on the tougher projects. And when I say projects, it's coaching and sometimes in supervision or and other things that I am taking on as an individual, as a learner, but also as a professional in this field, to be a thought leader in this field, and have the courage to share more of that. And I feel enveloped in a warm blanket of love and connection with all of you.
Thank you, Lucy. And I'm just going to check in because I saw a little bit of a physiological change in your face. I'm just checking in if that is what you're taking away from today.
If the last part?
Could be that.
Actually, I mean, it was just at the tip, not really very aware of it until you asked that question. But well, how wonderful that my supervision session with Damien was just a couple of hours ago, and he's asked me this question, and like, I didn't think about this case until we were literally in this room. I mean, I did have the case, but I just didn't know where I wanted to go with it until you asked me that question. So my last thought is, what a gift it's been that this has happened. And yeah, this meeting, this connection. All of you. And my deep learning. Yeah.
Fantastic, Lucy. And did you get what you came for?
Yeah, I think I've got reinforced the courage, curiosity, courage, and conviction are my guides, is even deeper.
Thank you, Lucy. And I love those 3 C's. I'm going to write them down when I get a chance. I think that's a beautiful intention to bring in for myself. And so again, I really want to thank you for bringing in this beautiful, courageous case that has supported all of us, I believe, in this system and beyond. And I really thank Grace, Reggie, and Inga for all of your powerful insights and questions of Lucy to bring that greater awareness. So thank you for partnering with me today in, again, potentially from a meta perspective, a vulnerable, courageous place for all of us. So thank you.
Thank you.
Well, thanks all of you for being willing to do this demo. I think it was very, you asked the question, Lucy, you want to go deep. And I think that you went there. So thank you for that. I think it was for, I can't talk only for me, but I think I learned a lot from Jeanine, seeing you facilitating this group supervision session and from the whole experience. I think it's a really great gift for all of the people who are here today. So thank you for that. So why don't we take a 5-minute break, and when we come back, we are going to go to small groups in triads to discuss what we learned. Particularly, the focus will not be on Lucy, but on Jeanine. What did you learn about group supervision and facilitation? What did you learn about the process? Okay. So Lucy, thank you very much for bringing the case. Jeanine, thank you very much for doing a beautiful job facilitating the group discussion and showing people how group supervision, people were asking, okay, we need to start practicing next week. So next week, the participants of the program are going to be doing the same thing that you see Jeanine doing with you. So now you have a good foundation to start your practices. So let's be back in 5 minutes. Okay. You can stay, Jeanine, correct? Can you stay, Jeanine, for the discussions? Okay, great.